Man, 2023 is shaping up to be such a hype year. There's so many great games coming out. I mean, I can't even name them all. But what I am going to try to do is give you my top 10 most hype games that I'm excited about in 2023. We're actually going to call this, let's just say, Top 10 2023 Games Blue version. Because this is going to be my take on 2023, where Mike, he's going to give you his take on 2023 later. Oh, and I did want to mention, all the games I'm going to mention have an exact release date. I'm not going to mention games that don't have a release date. So I am also excited for a game such as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but we really don't have a release date on that. There's other games out there that's supposed to be coming in 2023, but they don't have a concrete release date. I just took them out of the list because we don't know if it's going to be pushed to the following year. So keep that in mind. A lot of these games that I am mentioning that do have an exact release date can also be pushed back to the following year. But let's get started with number 10. So the list was super hard to create, but number 10 goes to Wulong Fallen Dynasty. Wulong Fallen Dynasty is being developed and published by Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja. It's basically a Souls-like game, so basically the successor to Nioh. Now it is a really cool Souls-like game. I played the demo and I really enjoyed it. I mean, honestly, I am very excited for this. I mean, who doesn't like Souls-like games, right? It's very nice. I do like the moving mechanics. They did upgrade it from Nioh. There's an actual jump button, which I think is pretty cool. And it's set in China, so I think that's also another cool thing that you're going after Chinese mythology, where Nioh was more in Japan. So I think that's nice that it's just a different take in general. I am very excited for this. Can't wait for it to come out. Like I said, I love Souls-like game. It was very hard to pick a number 10, but this definitely felt to number 10. All right, number 9 goes to Dead Space. Dead Space comes out January 27th, so really early in the year. And honestly, I'm very excited for the Dead Space remake. I played the original Dead Space and really enjoyed it. Love how it basically capitalized on what made Resident Evil 4 great, but made it even better. It was actually scary, where Resident Evil 4, not so much. I mean, if you want to hear more about my thoughts on Resident Evil 4, the original one, definitely go check out my Resident Evil 4 remake trailer, where I asked, did we really need a Resident Evil 4 remake? But going back to Dead Space, I do like that they're pretty much improving the mechanics, making the controls more modern, while also updating the graphics. I am definitely excited for this. And it's crazy how we're getting both Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 remake in the same year. Two survival horror games in the same year. A remake at that, oh man, this is gonna be a great year. Number 8 goes to Like a Dragon Ishin, coming out February 21st. Like a Dragon Ishin, aka Yakuza, is set in the Meiji era. So if you enjoy Yakuza games or any of its previous games, you're really gonna enjoy this. This actually is another remake because this was already released back on the PS3 and I also believe the Wii U, but they've remade it for modern consoles using the Dragon engine. I believe it's called the Dragon engine, with updated graphics as well as updated gameplay and all that other good stuff. It's pretty neat because this is going to be the first time the West gets it, and I've really been excited for this game. I love, as you know, I love samurai type games, so this is going to be pretty neat where you're playing as the Yakuza but in samurai form. Definitely another game to be excited for, and like another remake, which is pretty crazy there. Number 7 goes to Octopath Traveler 2. Comes out 3 days after Like a Dragon Ishin. And man, I'm telling you, Octopath Traveler 2 looks to fix everything that was wrong about Octopath Traveler 1. I'm not saying that Octopath Traveler 1 was a bad game, but my biggest issue with it was the story. The story was disconnected. You had a bunch of different protagonists, but they really didn't fit together. There was no conversation between them or anything like that. Here it looks like the actual party and the cast is actually going to interact with each other and the story is going to be more uniform, which I do like, and I hope that's the case. I'm pretty sure they're going to be improving improving the gameplay overall, because the graphics were already amazing. HD 2D, this was the birth of HD 2D, and man, I really love the art style. Octopath Traveler 2 is definitely a game you don't want to sleep on. I guarantee it's going to be better than Octopath Traveler 1, and I am very excited for that. Coming in at number 6, we have Street Fighter 6 that comes out June 2nd. Oh man, that's another game I'm super excited for. As you know, I already made a video about Street Fighter 6 on how hyped I am for this. Street Fighter 6 looks to bring back what I've loved about Street Fighter from Street Fighter 4 and even Street Fighter 2. Mix it with a little bit of Street Fighter 3 there, and then you get this beautiful masterpiece that should be Street Fighter 6. I say should, right? Because it looks like they fixed all the issues that we complained about in Street Fighter 5. When Street Fighter 5 launched, definitely wasn't that great. I mean, they really capitalized on DLC, monetization, and all that stuff, and it was just not good on the consumer side. It wasn't even that good of a game. It just felt very slow. Street Fighter 6 looks to bring an awesome story mode. Looks like the mechanics are gonna be a lot quicker. And again, looks to bring Street Fighter 6 back in its prime. This might be the best Street Fighter game ever. I guess we'll have to wait to see in June, but it is my number 6 pick. Coming in at number 5 is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Oh man, that comes out March 17th, and I can't tell you, I am super hyped for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Jedi Fallen Order was great. It was an amazing Star Wars game, probably the best Star Wars game out there, honestly. You know, if you remember, Star Wars games were going to a downward trend with Battlefront, and Battlefront 2 was a little bit better, but still wasn't my cup of tea. Then we got a nice, good, amazing single-player game in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which was a little bit of a Souls-like, mix it with some Uncharted elements, and you got this beautiful masterpiece that was there. Jedi Survivor looks to improve on everything that came before it, with also furthering the story of Cal. Oh man, I can't tell you, I can't believe that this game is coming this year. It's hard to believe, but man, I am excited for it, and that is definitely my number 5 pick. Coming in at number 4 is Resident Evil 4 Remake, coming out 7 days after Jedi Survivor. Oh man, I only have 7 days to beat that game before this game comes out. And Resident Evil 4 Remake, even though I did make a video asking if we did need another Resident Evil 4 Remake, or rather if we did need a Resident Evil 4 Remake, the answer is yes, we did. I am excited for this. This looks to fix everything that I didn't like about the original Resident Evil 4, mainly in taking away the horror aspect of it and the survival aspect of it, and now we're trying to bring that back into Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 was already an amazing action game. It just was missing on the horror elements and the survival elements. This is looking to fix that, and I am excited for this. I'm also worried though, because if you remember with Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 Remake, there were some things that were being missed or that were taken out of the game. I hope they don't do that with this. It looks like they are expanding on it, but we'll see if it's worth whatever they're expanding to it, the little areas that might look new, if they don't take away some key parts of it. But we'll have to wait and see next year on March. Now, before I get to the top 3 games I'm excited for, I do want to give an honorable mention to Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. That game I am super hyped for. I've only played a few of the games, mainly Mega Man Battle Network Proto Man and Team Colonel, the DS version, and I did play Mega Man Battle Network 1 and 2. But I am super excited for this because they are bringing online to it, and I think that's great. You know, the game was really good with multiplayer. If you don't know about Mega Man Battle Network, it's an RPG slash like strategy, like tactical game with chips, aka like card elements to it. It's really fun, different from Mega Man games prior, but it's a very fun RPG game. Highly recommend it. That comes out April 14th. I'm gonna be picking it up day 1 for sure, and hopefully you guys pick it up too. Unfortunately, I don't think it was good enough to make it on this list, but it's definitely, I'm super hyped for it. It would be my number 11 pick for sure. All right, coming in at number 3 is Fire Emblem Engage, which comes out January 20th. And man, again, another game I am super hyped for. Definitely early in the year. I can't wait for this game to come out. There are some things I am worried about because it looks to be following in Awakening's footsteps. I did make a video on Fire Emblem Engage, so you can kind of get my thoughts on that if you just go ahead and watch that video. But this seems to go ahead and take a little bit of what Three Houses has, but while also doing what Awakening did, and pretty much adding some Fire Emblem Heroes elements. If you don't know what Fire Emblem Heroes is, that is the mobile game that had gacha elements where you get other characters, or other heroes rather, that join your party. Here you have the emblems, which are basically previous Fire Emblem heroes or Fire Emblem lords, and they get added to your party and they kind of help you out in different ways. You can engage, where you kind of combine the powers of those heroes, or rather emblems, to the character that you're choosing. Definitely looks like an amazing game. I'm excited for it. As some of you might know, I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan. Definitely one of my favorite franchises of all time, if not my favorite franchise of all time. Yeah, it's my favorite franchise of all time. I'll say that. So I am excited for this, but it is only number 3, so can't wait for you to find out my number 2 and 1 pick. And coming in at number 2 is Final Fantasy 16, coming out June 22nd. Oh man, this was such a hard choice. I'm super excited for this game. Honestly, it was very close to be my number 1 game, but there is another game that outbeat it. Man, Final Fantasy 16 was to bring back Final Fantasy into its A game. If you remember, I did also make a video on this. Final Fantasy 15 just didn't do it for me. It didn't do it for a lot of people. And in my opinion, I don't think it's the action elements that it brought. It's more about the story was so disconnected. It was kind of all over the place. You had to go ahead and watch different mediums. You had an anime, you had a movie. There's some like lore books you had to read. It was just too all over the place. The world, in my opinion, of Final Fantasy 15 was amazing. It just didn't do it in terms of the delivery of the video game. Now, when it comes to Final Fantasy 16, oh man, you have Yoshi P on board as he is producing this game, and I can guarantee you it's going to be an amazing game. For those of you who don't know who Yoshi P is, he's pretty much the guy who kind of single-handedly saved Final Fantasy 14. Okay, maybe he didn't single-handedly did it. He had a whole team that did it, but that team that worked on Final Fantasy 14 is working on Final Fantasy 16. And man, I am super hyped for this. The story looks great. You actually get to be a summon and fight as a summon, which is pretty neat. The combat director is that of who did the same person who did Devil May Cry 5 and also did Dragon's Dogma. So I'm very curious to see how these fighting mechanics work with the action RPG elements. It's definitely going to be very interesting to see how it turns out. But man, I am super hyped for it. For those of you who don't know, I am a huge Final Fantasy fan ever since the PS1 days, and man, I can't wait for this game to come out. That is my number 2 pick. Now, I'm very curious to see how many of you predicted my number 1 game in 2023. Yep, it's a no-brainer. For those of you who know me, my number 1 game of all time is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and my number 1 hype game for 2023, the game to look out for the most, is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That comes out May 12th, and oh man, it looks amazing. It's looking to bring what Breath of the Wild did great and expand that. You have a whole new area and exploring the sky, but there's still a lot of mystery to the game that we don't know about, such as, are there 2 links you're playing as, or is it a single link? Are you going to different timelines? Is there a past? Is there a future? Oh man, like that other Link with the long hair that kind of looks, he has like that green strap or whatever you want to call over him. Man, that guy looks so dope. I can't wait to see that Link and play as that Link. But it's still such a mystery. We don't know who the main enemy is. Where previously we knew it was Ganon, here we don't know. It could still be Ganon, it could be somebody else completely different, we don't know. But man, I am so excited for this game, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are watching this video are also excited for it. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is my number 1 pick, and I can't wait for it to come out. And there you have it, my top 10 list of games to look out for in 2023. Blue version, remember, Mike's gonna go ahead and give his top 10 list of games to look out for in 2023. We'll probably call that red version, like a nod to Pokemon, right? 2 different versions, right? But man, I can't wait to see what he has in store for you guys and what his top 10 list is. This list was super hard to make. I'm pretty sure Mike's gonna have the same trouble I did, but here you have it. I made that top 10 order. That being said, I'm not saying one game is probably better than the other. They're all gonna be amazing games, and there's still a bunch of games I didn't even put on this list that I'm very excited to look for. Also, don't forget, there's a lot of games that we do know are supposed to be coming out in 2023, but I did not put it on this list because they don't have concrete release dates. One of them, for example, is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I am super excited for that game. I just don't think it's coming out in 2023. So that's another reason why I didn't want to put that on the list. But if it does, having 2 Final Fantasy games in 1 year, oh man, that's gonna be amazing. That's gonna be a first, I think, for Square Enix. because usually it takes like 20 years for a Final Fantasy game to be made. But there you have it. If you really enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to go ahead and follow us over on Twitch. We do live streams. We do have our podcast that we do every Sunday. And man, thanks for just watching this video. Can't wait to see you guys next time. See ya.